did you miss me? Jimmy, I see that you found a new friend. Warden, come down here and kiss me hello, 'cause I'm back home in Huntsville again. This suit that I'm wearing costs $200, but I got it free with a $3 knife. I got tailor-made shirts with them long pointy collars, and all it's gonna cost is 10 years of my life. So open the gates up, hey, screw, did you miss me? Jimmy, I see that you found a new friend. Warden, come down here and kiss me hello, 'cause I'm back home in Huntsville again.
It's time to holler down the pipe chase and rattle them bars, because we're going to do a prison show for you right here at beautiful, old, historic, old, exciting new KPFT Houston, from the heart of Montrose, where we all hope tomorrow will be a better day.
Work, but they call me a jailbird, so I went for the bundle and I wound up back here. So open the gates up, hey, screw, did you miss me? Jimmy, I see that you found a new friend. Warden, come down here and kiss me hello, 'cause I'm back home in Huntsville again.
Well, it's time to holler down the pipe chase and rattle the bars, Daniel. What do you think?
I think this is the time of the prison show. Here we are.
Yep, and we're missing a few people tonight.
But we're here since 1980.
That's a long time, man. 38 years, can you imagine?
Always sitting here.
Yep, and old Ray's still out there. Ray's listening right now. Hey, Ray, we love you and we miss you, brother. Trying to hold down the fort. Carry on in your tradition.
Tout.
Tonight, Hank's got a lay-in. He's doing the art car parade tomorrow, so he's out there doing art car parade stuff. And Miss Tanika's stuck in traffic. I hadn't seen her come through the door yet, but she texted me a little while ago and said she was Ubering in.
Yeah, thanks for volunteering there, Hank. The car parade is part of the culture of the city.
KPFT participates. They usually got a vehicle. I'm not sure if they do this year or not. I'm sure they got the truck going on. But yeah, we got a really big show tonight. Sound like Ed Sullivan, right? We got a really big show.
A big show in a small studio.
Earl Carl Institute, the Innocence Project, we've been missing them for a few weeks. They've been going through a few changes in administration. And Miss Thalia, who did the parole solutions last week, she's here tonight. And she brought a couple of students, so they'll be coming here in a few minutes. They're coming through the door right now.
Yep, I'm going to call them.
Michael Allen, they're right here. Michael Allen, he's going to be calling in because he don't feel so hot. But we still wanted to hear from him because there's so much going on in Mike's world. In mass incarceration here in Houston, Mike doesn't just do about in mass incarceration. He gets out there and protests. He gets out there on the street and he walks that beat and he screams and he hollers and he gets some attention going on.
Yep.
So Mike's a pretty big asset for us. And then David Atwood should be calling in with death penalty news. And we've got a piece, I don't know if you guys watch the news, the Houston news, those of y'all that are pretty close, but Fox 26 has been doing a deal about Reggie Moore, and Reggie Moore was here a couple of weeks back. And Reggie is the caretaker for the old Imperial Farm Cemetery. And if you watch the news, Fort Bend ISD has found 30 bodies just north of his property. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. But Daniel, you've been out with the goats. What's been going on?
Yeah, I've been there with the goats and the chickens because this time was not in Argentina, está en México. Hey.
So they had goats and chickens.
Muy buenas noches, que he estado con muchos de vuestros ciudadanos. Sé que me escucháis mucho que sois de México. Imaginaros ahí con este acento español. Yeah, they were saying, where are you from? With that thick accent.
Yeah.
I always have an accent wherever I go.
Yeah, I mean, man, you speak Italian and Spanish, and how many different dialects does Spanish have?
Oh, we have at least 10, and then we have 3 languages in Spain.
Yeah. So
Yep.
so where is the one place in the whole world you can go where you don't have an accent?
In between the 4 walls of my house.
That's it. Because you're everywhere in the world, so therefore, even if you go home, wherever home is, you still have an accent in your own city. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, I guess I can understand that one. I've been down in Texas so long that I go back to Indiana and everybody thinks I talk like a Texan. But all the people down here in Texas think I sound like a Yankee, so.
Yankee.
I can understand. Hey, Miss Thalia, how are you? You got a microphone. You guys are going to have to talk up to it.
I'm doing well tonight. How are you, considering it's Friday night? It's been a long week. I just submitted an appeal last night. So I think, considering I've had a productive week, but I am ready for some rest.
So tell us about the Earl Carl Institute. You kind of got into a different position what Professor Houghton's had for a long time, right?
That is correct. I accepted the position maybe a month in. So I am the professor at the Earl Carl Institute Innocence Project, and I also teach the clinic to law students there.
And these are 2 of your students?
That they are.
And what are you guys studying right now? There's another mic over there. You can pull it over your way.
Well, I'm Cesar Mata. I'm a third-year law student. This is my first clinic at the law school itself, but I've done internships with U.S. attorneys and the Office of Civil Rights up in D.C.
And what got you interested in going to law school?
Several things. I was a middle school teacher, and I also was a teacher's aide in the high school, but in low economic areas. And I was really interested in juvenile law, but also several things. I had friends that became prison guards, and they told me some things that unsettled me. I had one friend told me that the prison he worked at, if someone was to pass away in the prison would wait like a whole year till they report the death because they wanted the funding to continue.
Wow.
I thought it was interesting. And it was just like little things like that that got me interested in going to law school.
Remind me not to go to that prison.
It's in West Texas.
And you, ma'am?
Yes, my name is Jasmine Spencer. I'm also a 3L at Thurgood Marshall, and I've been involved in the criminal aspect for a long time. My bachelor's degree is in criminal justice, and I've done a lot of things with the NAACP. I've worked for the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I've also worked for the Public Defender's Office. So Earl Carl was right for me. I felt like I would be affecting change, and so I'm very happy that I'm here and I'm working with Miss Thalia.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. I look forward to you guys coming on the show quite often. I really appreciate the Earl Carl Institute because out of the Innocence Project, I know from being down so long that there are innocent people that may not have DNA evidence. And so to me, that's really important to be able to, someone can actually get their innocence checked out, and if they're actually innocent, even if they don't have the DNA evidence. I mean, sometimes you have eyewitness accounts or you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and you can prove where you were at, but nobody wants to listen. Been there, done that, right?
That's absolutely true, and that's so funny, or maybe ironic, that you mentioned the Earl Carl Institute in terms of the Innocence Project, in terms of DNA and misidentification, because that's exactly what we're on tonight to speak about, the massive amounts of exonerations on the account of DNA. And then when we think about our brothers and sisters who are behind bars, who do not have, if you will, the benefit of having DNA to argue their innocence, and that's how the clinic comes into play, because when those letters come in and there's claims of actual innocence, we can go further into it because you have actual hands and young minds that go beyond just what DNA will prove.
Okay. You guys, you've been studying stuff? You got a presentation you're going to make? You going to talk about the Miller case, or what are we going to talk about?
Well,
You going to tell us that all cops are liars, or what?
Well, I'll talk about a current case I'm working on.
Okay.
I can't give you any names, but the individual, I mean, it was actually, it was interesting because recently there's a possibility that the victim is possibly willing to recant her witness statement. In other words, he hired actually a private investigator to contact her And he, from what he's told me, I want to contact the woman myself, but what he's told me is that she wasn't really sure who committed the crime. It was just the police officers kind of pushing her to lead towards him. And it's looking hopeful, but we still need to go forward in the case, and we'll see what happens.
So they were leading the witness.
Yes.
Sometimes they just scare the bejesus out of them and make them say whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or sometimes they buy what people have told me, snacks. You feed a man, he starts talking, especially a hungry man, and they'll say what it is that you want. Or they want to just get out of the where they are, get out of the interrogation. Excuse me. Yes, that's right. And then they give them a smoke or a drink or whatever it is, and they start singing like canaries to things that aren't even necessarily true.
Yeah. Just to get another smoke or another drink?
Absolutely.
Sometimes they wear them down, too, by just interrogating them for an awful long time.
Absolutely. Hours upon hours of asking the same question in different ways, looking for a different response. I've had many clients that I've done direct representation for, and even some on appeal, that have said, I just said it because I was tired of being interrogated for the number of hours. It was, wee hours in the morning, and they put pressure on me, and was, multiple officers, multiple investigators just, honing in on them, asking them questions, and I finally said, yes to whatever it was, knowing that they had nothing to do with it, or the person who they were asking about had nothing to do with it.
I have a question about the Innocence Project. Probably some of the inmates that are listening, they would be interested in understanding who can contact you for what reason. Because we always say, guys, you have to be innocent, real innocent, but then what else do you need? What are the specifics so that we know who can write you and where?
So there is a screening process. We're going to give everyone, you can write to the Earl Carl at 3100 Claiborne Street. It is in Houston, Texas, 77004. That's the area code. Or you can call 713-313-1139. Now, there is a screening process, and there are two things that you have to fit. You have to actually be innocent, meaning no technical innocence. If you are a person that's claiming self-defense, we can't help you. If you are a person that is outside of Houston, we can't help you. So there are certain things that you have to meet, and also there has to be some possibility of relief for you. Like in cases where there is no DNA evidence that can exonerate you, there may be eyewitnesses that want to recant their stories, or maybe a witness actually lied on you, and we can investigate the matter and we can get that recantation for you. And yeah, that's just it. Those two things that you have to meet, and we have a process in which we investigate. We go and
a questionnaire.
Yes, and a questionnaire that you have to fill out. Please fill out the questionnaire. Yes.
Where do they find the questionnaire?
It's available on the Earl Carl website, and it's also available on the Innocence Project website. And if you are actually locked up and you're an inmate, they have them in the law library. For you. Yeah.
So that's important. So if you inmates, you have family outside, and they can call this number, 713-313-1139. 713-313-1139. And if you are an inmate and you are inside, so you have to write to 3100 Claiborne, CLEBURNE, and that is Houston, zip code 77004.
So how long have you had that in your book?
Oh, well, this is this is when you came in June last year. I know you come here every 6 weeks, so we have the notes in here. We see the evolution. Actually, I wrote in here in June you had already, how much were it? 3,300 petitions. And at that time you said you had only one lawyer. Is it still true? You have only one? Or
yes and no. Working on getting more, in the process of getting more, but right now, yes.
All right.
Do you answer also to people that they have a broken English like mine, and they can speak half Spanish and half English? Yes. All right, that's good. Así que habéis oído, podéis escribir también vosotros, escribir al Innocence Project. Si sois inocentes de verdad, llamar al 713-313-1139.
They also, if you're of Hispanic
good enough.
They also have The questionnaire, they have it in Spanish for you.
Ah, fenomenal. Así que podéis pedir el cuestionario en la biblioteca, el cuestionario que está
And
escrito
it's
también en
available in
español.
the same place, yeah.
And we have
Miss
another
Tanika's
guest.
back.
Here
Yeah.
we go, not a guest, a host.
Watch out. Don't trip over the cord. All right. So I want to ask about the Miller case. No, we still got a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the schedule, we go till 9:20.
I don't know why it's
So
on
we got
9:15.
we got 4.5 minutes left. Tell me
Okay,
about
sounds
the Miller
good.
case.
So the Miller case, it stems from a 58-hour interrogation in which Mr. Miller admitted to some crimes that he technically did not commit. And that case went to the Supreme Court, and it set out some guidelines in which some things that the police can do and some things that they can't do, such as they can't coerce a defendant into admitting a crime. It has to be voluntary. If Ms. Thalia wants to jump in, I just gave some brief facts.
So the cop actually said he was somebody that he wasn't, right? And kept asking questions if he was just like a regular interviewer and not a cop.
Absolutely. One of the things that was discussed, because I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Miller L. This past week, and we discussed many things, but a lot of times when you're being interrogated, and this is not, this is no fabrication, but they pretend and set it in such a way that you don't feel threatened. They try to, put your mind at ease, or even they lie about who they are and what it is they want. And then they, question you and ask you the same question in multiple different ways in order to try to trip you up. And then they imply certain things that are not true. And in order to alleviate yourself from that pressure and that tension, you end up saying and confessing to things that you don't know about, because I also know that they make promises that if you say certain things, we'll let you go. Mm-hmm. And then once they get you on the hook of saying certain things, we'll let you go, then they turn around and flip the script. And it's the same thing also with, moving forward with a case. They'll tell you that your case, they're not seeking the death penalty, or they're not seeking a number or life sentence if you just do certain things. And then once you start doing those certain things, then you find yourself either on death row or serving a life sentence, even though during the interrogation portion of the onset of the case, or before the charges are filed, you find yourself doing certain things that are just nowhere near the truth. And then also, I wanted to talk about the different ways in which there are misidentifications, and that's, in terms of the wrongful convictions, we talk about false confessions, suppression of exculpatory evidence, false testimony from informants and acquaintances. I've got a case right now where someone identified a guy who's serving a sentence, and he was 60% sure from the lineup. And of course, the lineup can, I've seen it where officers kind of throw a pen or use their fingers to kind of sway the person who's making the identification to say that it's this particular person over the next particular person in the 6-person lineup. I've seen where there have been instances of just one person that the police show, and it be the defendant that they stand accused of, and they end up convicting them. We talk about false forensic testimony and unreliable methodologies.
No, don't.
Okay.
I was talking to the camera guy.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about us. Sorry,
Okay.
we use hand signals.
Okay. No problem.
On the radio, they can't see the hand signals.
Right.
On Facebook, they can, but not on the radio.
What is this right here?
This is Facebook Live. You're on Facebook Live right now, so you better smile.
I didn't want to be on
It's too late.
Yeah,
It's too late.
every week we broadcast on Facebook Live. Reality TV
I
at
always
its best.
knew
You didn't know that?
No, I thought you guys were. I would always turn my head away, but I had no idea.
Last week you
I
didn't see
thought
Joseph
that's
sitting
why
over
you
there?
were so glamorous last
Oh
week.
no, ma'am.
Ready for yeah. I have a face for radio, but you ladies have beauty and brains. But Thalia, talk to us though. I mean, still, on the identification issue. One common issue is the cross-racial bias, right? And we know that so many of our clients sitting on the inside are there because of faulty IDs, right?
Absolutely.
what can you share with us, based on your research, your findings, or whatever? How does that play into your
Jasmine wants to
discussion?
speak on that tonight.
Okay.
Yes. So one thing we want people to understand is that crime happens everywhere, and when crime happens to you, it normally happens another person that within your community is the person that committed it, and a lot of times that person happens to be of the same race as you. But we're finding in our research that where the victim is white, the person will get a lengthier sentence, and they're also most likely to be convicted. And in cases where there's death penalty, where there's been a murder, those persons are most likely to get the death penalty. And we're finding that there are many flaws with witness misidentification, like she said. And like you're saying, it's cross-racial. You ever heard the saying where they say, I can't tell two black people alike, or I can't tell two white people alike? And they're finding that based on our common features, where we might have the same nose, or we might have the same ears, based on just our racial makeup, these people are misidentifying them. And this is very detrimental to them. So that's why it's important that law enforcement, who are aware of this, and they use these tactics in order to get their guy and get whoever they believe committed the crime, it's important for them to ask the important questions, such as what's the height of the person, the weight of the person, is the person light skin, is the person dark skin, are they brown skin, are there any features that might distinguish them from another person? You have to ask the right questions in order for you to get the right person, because if you misidentify the wrong person, that's the same thing as throwing this person's life away.
Right.
So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but time is up. We actually went over it by a couple of minutes. But I really thank you guys for coming.
Yes.
I think that the Miller case is interesting. I wish Miller Earl all the best. I wish you could get into more depth on it, but time is up. So,
well, thank you so much for the time that we
Thank
had.
you all for the education.
You guys remember to put it on your calendar, and let's get back into the swing of things every 6 weeks.
Well, these students, these fresh faces will be studying for the bar, so
Yes.
we'll have
We
new
will be
students.
graduating May 11th.
How many students you have, let's rotate them and see what's going on. Yep, that's the way Tony did it, every 6 weeks.
All right, sounds like a plan to me.
All right, thank you so much for coming.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. Y'all have a great evening.
And Miss Tanika, Michael Allen's sick this week.
All right.
So he called in. He's on line 1 because he
Okay.
didn't want to come up here and infect everybody.
Well, Michael, how are you?
I'm getting better. I probably would have been all right, but I just hate to think, the next person that sat down and licked that microphone got sick because of me.
Well, we appreciate your concern. Well, feel better, brother. Feel better.
She's over here got disinfectant all over
Yeah,
her hands.
I'm wiping sanitizer on my hands, and you're on the other side of town.
I'll tell you, I got that influenza bug, I believe, and it is nothing nice. Oh, my goodness. I'm going almost 2 weeks.
Oh, yikes.
Oh, that's nasty.
Oh, yikes. Okay, vitamin C, zinc, echinacea.
Yeah, that's
All
going
right.
around, though. They've got a lot of visitation closures this weekend because of that bug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's bad.
Well,
But David contacted me, and I did want to, get a little airtime.
Yeah, well, I want
I've
to
got some
hear about
stuff
the
on my
pants down,
mind.
don't shoot.
Yeah. Well, I've got a demonstration that I'm organizing for Sunday. So sick or not sick, I'll be there, because I always, it's funny. I was listening to your last guest, and I always feel so stupid when I'm on the prison show, because it seems what I have to say is not very heavy with facts, but I just so often I find myself just trying to encourage you guys in there to get involved, because I realize if everybody just shakes their head and looks the other way, nothing's going to happen. And what I realized today is what if in the end, when we get to, in the end, we're not judged by the things we do or we've done, but by the things we don't do. And that's what I keep thinking. I mean, I know we see, it's like we see wrong things that are obviously wrong, that someone should do something about, but we don't know. Like bad judicial decisions. Like rich kids getting away with murder. Bad police decisions, poor kids getting blown away. Bad government decisions. 2.5 million poor in jails and prisons. rotten food, rotten health care, slave labor, private prisons. I mean, there's plenty enough bad to go around for everyone to get involved, but hardly anyone does. You know, most just shake their heads and look the other way, like I said. And I'm not talking about the fancy activists, you know, the ones who support the big banks while they go out and wave signs and sort of stand up and be counted. Actually, I'm glad they're there. I'm talking about those of us who can see clearly there's a problem and it ain't getting no better. Everybody else is shaking their heads and not doing anything. So why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't I? You know, like you guys are locked up. What can you do? You know, people out here, they're just too busy. They got a golf date. Or maybe they just want to drink and get high. You know, social action cuts into my get high time. You know, but I could sit back Sunday, I could say, I'm too sick to do this. But you know what? I realize that maybe, and I got to tell you what's happened. A man lost his children last week.
Wow.
And he lost it. I mean, he lost it mentally. He's wandering around in the streets with his pants around his ankles, walking around in his boxer shorts. And a sheriff confronts him. It gets off screen. They have a video. And you hear two shots, and the cop blows him away. He just kills him. You know, this hits too close to home for me, because 9 years ago, my kid died. He just happened to be in police custody, but within a week, I was picked up by the police for DUI, and I had something to say to the cops, and they just threw me into a police cart and slammed my head against the wall, but they didn't shoot me. You know, I think the benefit of my white face. So I mean, I feel my heart is breaking for what this man was going through, but he did not deserve to die. So I've organized with the new Black Panther Party, and we expect the family of Danny Ray Thomas to be out there at the corner of Post Oak and Westheimer at 3 o'clock on Sunday. And I'm going to be on the corner. I hope that there's a few other brave souls out there. I'm going to be on the corner with my pants around my ankles, with my boxers hanging out, asking, do I deserve to die too, Sheriff? And we're gonna, you know, the problem is we go to the judiciary, we go to the legislators, we go to the police, and none of them care. They have more ways to wiggle out of doing anything than you can imagine. The bad lawyers, they got plenty of them. But what I believe we have to do is we have to hit the rich people in their pocket. We have to make it uncomfortable for them to go shopping. We have to make it uncomfortable we have to make the Galleria lose money, because the only thing they understand is money. They don't care about justice. It's not their kids getting blown away. It's not their kids being locked up for things that they should get help for. It's us. It's poor people. It's black people. It's brown people. And we got to do something, because nobody doing anything for so long has gotten us to the point we're at. And you guys are in there. You see it. It's not getting any better. And I'm telling you out here, it's pretty obvious to quite a few of us out here that it's not getting any better. But a lot of people got their heads in the sand, or else if they see it, they just shake their head and they walk the other way. And we have to stop doing that, or else nothing will ever change. That's all I got.
Well, that's a whole lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
All right, give us date, time.
Sunday in 2 days, on the 15th of April, from 1 to 3, corner Post Oak and Westheimer. I'll be the guy with the knobby knees. But you can go to Facebook and type in "Pants Down, Don't Shoot," and it'll come up, and it'll give you all the details.
Awesome. Thank you for everything that you're doing. And you know, what do they say? The assault need not be just a frontal assault. We've got to attack from all angles. So
I believe that.
Yes, those scholars have to be involved. Has to be the battle in the courtrooms, and we've got to fight on the streets.
And Mike, you said earlier, you said that we all need to get involved any way we can, or nothing will ever change.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
The responsibility is on my shoulders. And it's
Everybody
on your
can
shoulders.
do something, The worst thing you can think is, what can I do? I mean, or you can think that I can't do anything, because we can all do something.
Yep.
And you guys in there, you got to realize, if you don't get involved, maybe your kids aren't going to have a fighting chance because you shook your head and said, what can I do? And you didn't do anything. So get involved any way you can. Any way you can.
Well, thanks, Mike. We appreciate you calling in, man. Hope you get to
Dave.
feeling better.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
All right.
Good night.
Thanks now. Good night.
Bye.
All right.
Miss Tanika, a few years back, I guess it's been 2012, I would just started off volunteering here at KPFT again after I got out of prison. And I was involved with TIFA, Texas Inmate Family Association. And then I got introduced to some people from grassroots leadership.
Okay.
And there was a big to-do going down in Sugarland. And one of my biggest fears whenever I was incarcerated is that I would die.
Wow.
And, what would happen to my body? Was there any sense in my family having life insurance to do anything with my body? My brother-in-law passed away down there, and my other brother-in-law had to go pick him up in his pickup truck, and that TDC actually charged him $20 for the body.
Wow. And
he transported him back up to China Springs, Texas, and buried him in the family plot. But I mean, all those things, that's pretty scary for a guy. And down at Sugarland, at the Central Unit, which is closed now, there's a old Imperial Farm Cemetery.
Right.
And so we went down there, grassroots leadership and TIFA and KPFT, and there's a gentleman down there named Reginald Moore, and Reginald Moore's been on here several times. He was here just a couple of weeks ago. We all went over to the Martin Luther King benefit dinner that he had. And Reggie, for 20 years now, he's been caretaker of the cemetery. And Reggie is a retired police officer. I mean, not police officer, retired TDC
prison
guard.
guard.
He worked on just a 3 unit. But it's so sad to see this prison, and Fort Bend ISD owns the land that's all around it. And originally, the Imperial Sugar Farm was 200 acres. And so now they're down to like 60 acres.
Well, I thought it was 2,000.
Was it 2,000 or 200? We had to look it up.
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
But anyway, the point is they're down to 60 acres now.
Right.
And up where they're building at, they found 30 bodies.
Right. But they didn't even find them when they were initially digging. It's when, once they were putting land back. And so
heavy machinery was doing it, and they were rolling, and he found the bone. And it was the heavy machinery operator that actually found it. I was reading, there's a story in Texas Monthly right now. And then this past week, Jose Grignon from Fox 26 came out, and Maya Shea was there. And Fox 26 had contacted me a week prior, and it was a whole different story. It was the Hometown Friday thing.
Okay.
And so Jose Grignon come out to do the Hometown Friday show, or the story or whatever, about the cemetery, because we want the Sugarland people to understand there's a possibility
that they're living
anywhere,
on top of.
Whenever we did the convict leasing, I want to call it a ceremony because that's pretty much what it was. Is we took a pile of the dirt that's right there, and we would let the individuals go out, and they would read the story about how the convicts would run out in the fields. A lot of times they'd be running away, and they'd get killed, and they'd get buried right there wherever they died at. And so we would take and we'd scatter dirt in the wind, and then we'd say a prayer, because that's probably about the only decent funeral that them guys ever got. And we knew that there were bodies out there. We just didn't know where. And so now here they've found 30. And go a little bit deeper, there's a little bit of mystery, and it comes out sometimes in what we're reading. And I would like to play this piece from Jose Grignon. I asked permission. But they had an archaeologist come out from the Historical Society at the cemetery itself. And the way it was explained to me, and Reggie knows a lot more than I do, but there's 2 acres that have been allotted for the cemetery, and it's fenced in, but the main part where the tombstones are it was told to me that those were mainly white and Hispanic people.
Right.
And all around the outside of the portion in the 2 acres is where the black people were buried. Well, you can't tell me after all those hundreds of years that that's all the people that were ever buried there on that property. So there's other people, other places, and God only knows where that they may be.
And especially where the starting, I mean, we know at minimum there was 2,000 acres. And then we also know that this was an extension of basically the slave trade. We, you know, we couldn't have legalized slavery anymore. And so what do? We just locked people up. And put them behind bars and use them as slave labor.
And it didn't matter what they did. They could have stole as simple as stealing a chicken, and now they're back as being a slave. And it didn't matter whether you were black, white, or Hispanic at this point in time in history. They'd lock you up, throw away the key. So I'd like to play this piece from Jose. Jose really did a good job at it. And if those of y'all that have been around the prison show for a while, Kathy Grignon was hostess.
Okay.
And Jose Grignon would come on from time to time, and really good people. Kathy's got a ministry now called Been There and Done That, where she helps prostitutes with human trafficking, getting them off the street.
Awesome program.
Turning their lives around.
Awesome.
You got it queued up and ready to go?
Okay. Sugarland has a story, but it's not sweet.
Reginald Moore, a former corrections officer, is the official state guardian of the small Imperial Farm Prison Cemetery. It's several hundred yards away from the recent discovery of several dozen remains found on a Fort Bend ISD construction site.
This cemetery came in at the end of the conflict lease era, which is over in 1912.
Though no remains were found until recently, Moore has maintained for nearly 20 years that bodies were buried in this area.
So for me to find 30-some bodies prior to not finding one, man, I was elated, I was ecstatic. And I felt good that these guys maybe be recognized for the atrocity that happened.
The atrocities he speaks of followed the abolition of slavery, and what followed that was a convict lease system, reportedly utilizing inmates for work on a prison sugarcane plantation under the umbrella of Imperial Sugar.
They didn't want to get rid of slavery, so they would find some trumped-up charge and they would convict a person of it. Really, whether you were black or white or Hispanic, it really didn't matter. If you got caught stealing a chicken, they'd put you in prison, and you were still a slave. And if you died out here, if they killed you, that's where you stayed.
For several years, Collingsworth and Moore organized visits to this site,
so that people would understand there's bodies out here.
The state of Texas recognized this particular site as being historical in 2007. But when you think in terms of a prison and the expanse that it had, more than 2,000 acres, which covers a lot of the areas that are now being developed, you have to wonder, with the recent discoveries, could there be bones buried beneath some of these homes?
Sure, without question. There's a possibility. I'm not going to panic any people back. There are, but absolutely. There are unmarked cemeteries all over this area. I mean, every place you have had plantations, there's going to be unmarked cemeteries.
And as the nearby unmarked burial ground is being excavated, Moore and others are hoping something will be done to remember those who were lost or forgotten in Sugarland's history.
If my family was buried there, I would want some kind of recognition.
They wasn't buried properly. They didn't have headstones. They haven't been acknowledged from the city or the state.
Moore is now hoping the recognition for those who were buried here is finally coming. He hopes to continue working with Fort Bend ISD, the city, and the state to eventually develop plans for an on-site museum dedicated to the lives lost during slavery and the prisoner lease program that followed. Jose Grignon, Fox 26 News.
And this is an awesome piece, David. And for me, I mean, you know, I don't know if you know this about me. I'm a genealogy buff. Yeah. And so I spend a lot of time in cemeteries, and especially in black cemeteries, because they are often overlooked and unkept. So what I hear when I hear the piece is your starting point is 2,000 acres of land, but you've only designated about 2 acres.
Right at 2 acres, yeah.
You know, and you're preserving and respecting only 2 acres of that amount of territory. And everything else be darned. We don't care. We're tilling that soil, turning it over, building houses, building buildings, and going on, pouring highways on top of it, and going about our
It's all profit,
business.
Isn't it? Progress.
But it's called progress, but you're not respecting humanity.
Right.
And so
It's a little bit what Mike said. It's just about money.
It is about money, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, you know, we forget the morality of it. We forget the historical significance of burial grounds. I mean, burial locations have just as much significance as birth records. Death records are just as important to who we are and what happened in our past as are our birth records. And so we learn more. I mean, if not for the fact that this cemetery exists, we probably would have forgotten about and overlooked this whole idea of convict leasing.
Right.
You know, if nothing else, at bare minimum, there needs to be some markers that
But that's
designate
probably why they're
everybody
trying
who
to
was
overlook it, is because they're just convicts. Or
they're just convicts. They're just poor people. They're just black people primarily. And it's so long ago. But if you look at, I mean, the convict leasing program stopped just in 1912. So that's still recent history in my mind.
Well, they didn't segregate the prison there on Century Inn until like 1968.
Until 68, wow.
So prior to that, in the 1960s, the museum, science museum, that was the black prison.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's kind of sad. I mean, that's our world.
That's our world.
So I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed for us.
And I thank you for, you know, the work that you've done to highlight this
I just think it's really important that we need to get it out. We need to get the word out, and people in Sugarland, because at one point in time they were trying to sell bonds to build up all that property, and people would come out and they would scatter the dirt into the wind, and they would say a prayer for the people that were buried out there, and nobody knows where they're at, and they would cry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's just sad because those are our ancestors that are out
there.
They
are our ancestors, and so we should call on historians, history buffs, genealogists, educators, religious leaders, you know, to step forward and see what we can do to join Mr. Moore in his efforts. And David, you know, contact David directly if you want more information.
You can email me at david@theprisonshow.net. That's as simple as that. And if you want to get a hold of Mr. Reginald Moore, you can contact me and I'll hook you up. It's just it's amazing. Yeah. I love history.
And if you want to contact directly Reginald Moore, we have the telephone number.
I got his telephone number, but the guys don't have phones, so I don't know what his physical address is. But they can always reach me here at the Prison Show. Mm-hmm. You can give out the number if they want to.
Yeah,
reach
of course. He was here last week of March, and he told us his telephone number. His cell phone is 281-495-1869.
Yeah, but sad to say that's not his cell phone. That's his home phone. He don't have a cell phone.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's why we were at the cemetery the other day and everybody was giving out my cards because he don't have a cell phone.
Okay.
So he's not doing
please
so
call
hot
him
either,
only for legitimate reasons. If you know, let him know you're calling to see how you can lend a hand.
And y'all keep him in your thoughts and prayers or good vibes or whatever, because he's not doing so hot. He's had some heart surgery and different things going on.
Okay.
And that's why he wasn't here tonight. I invited him up, but he was tired.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
So I'm going to get out of your hair, Miss Tanika. I think you got the rest of the show pretty packed.
Wow. Time really flies when you're having...
David Atwood.
All righty. We've got Mr. Dave on the line, David Atwood. Good evening, David. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you doing tonight?
I am awesome, awesome. Glad to hear from you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on again, and I want to give a shout-out to all the guys on death row that are listening in tonight. Let's see. I'm going to talk a little bit about a new poll that just came out. It was a university poll for the country, not just Texas, for the country, that showed that 51% versus 37% of the people polled prefer life without parole over the death penalty for a capital murder. And that number over the years has been changing. as more and more people are against the death penalty. And we see in the country and in Texas death sentences and executions going down, which is very good news. But the life without parole also presents a quandary for many people in Texas and also the other states that have the death penalty, because every state that has the death penalty, which is about, at this point, 31 states, because 19 states have abolished the death penalty. All those states have life without parole. And on one hand, life without parole has resulted, is one of the reasons why death sentences have gone down significantly in Texas and other places. Because a jury, when it comes to giving out the punishment for capital murder, has a choice, usually for either the death penalty or life without parole. But the other side of the coin is that we have now thousands of people in this country who have a life without parole sentence. And this is very discouraging for them to think that, you know, there's no hope of them ever getting out of prison. Now, I get letters every now and then, and I'm sure the other people on the prison show do, from some of these people asking for help. People who have been on death row in Texas, no longer on death row, but they have life without parole as their current sentence. Now, the problem is that just like we have people on death row who are innocent, we also have many of the people with life without parole sentences that are also innocent. But they cannot afford, because what happens if you get off death row, you sort of get lost in the system. You don't have all these people trying to save your life now, like you did when you were on death row.
Right.
And so they just sort of get lost, and and most of them are poor. They don't have the money to hire an attorney to really look into their claims of innocence. Now, the Innocence Project can look at some of these, but they're limited too. They only have so many people working on these kind of cases. Also, the other part of this is that even if they're not totally innocent of the crime, as years go by, many of these people become rehabilitated, just like they do on death row. They become rehabilitated. They change. And I know several people in this category that I write to, people that I know that were on death row, that are no longer there. They have life without parole. And in order to get life without parole, their attorneys had to come up with an agreement with the state to go in that direction. Now, Texas passed life without parole in 2005. That's 13 years ago. But to do that, the legislature was pretty much forced by people who were very pro-death penalty to give up the other option that was available at that time, which is the possibility of parole after 40 years in prison. Now, 40 years in prison is a long time, but when you get into a trial, a district attorney would probably say, if they really wanted to get the death penalty, they'd say, if you don't give this person the death penalty, they will get out and they will kill again, and that'll scare the devil out of the jurors who are listening, and they don't know that, this might mean 40 years somebody be in, and they're not going to be a threat to society after 40 years. But still, when that was said years ago, they would go for the death penalty. That's one reason the death sentences has gone down significantly since we have life without parole. So we're really faced with a quandary now, and there are people in the abolition community. We have arguments back and forth on this, quite frankly, and people feel differently. I think the point I'm going to try to make here is that I think the answer to this quandary is still what we talk about all the time, and that is abolishing the death penalty. If we did this would open up many options for dealing with people who have committed a violent crime. It could be 40 years. It could be 30 years. It just depends. But it would give flexibility in the prison system and in the criminal justice system for dealing with people. Right now, since we have so many people in life without parole, they're just lost, and like I mentioned before, in the system. Also, another thing to look at would be to somehow give more attention to the people who do have life without parole now, and to provide funding so their cases can be looked at. So we've got especially if they have a claim of innocence. So we have a quandary that's facing us now. Other countries that have done away with the death penalty. I mean, I look at Europe a lot because they've pretty much done away with the death penalty in Europe. They have not gone to life without parole as the other option. They have programs, and we've heard about some of them on the prison system, on the prison show, I'm sorry, talking about, how they really try to rehabilitate people. And even for some of the worst crimes, there is a limit to how much time somebody would spend in prison. And during that time, they really try to rehabilitate people so they can be released out into society. So I hope that our country and our state will get to that position at some time in the future, not too long in the future, because we have a lot of people. I mean, we have literally thousands of people. I don't know what the exact number is, but literally thousands of people with life without parole sentences, basically wasting away, using up taxpayer dollars in our prison system. And as much as I want to get rid of the death penalty, the life without parole is not really a good option. We have to even move beyond that. But if we do that, if we brought back life with parole for somebody who has committed capital murder, then you're going to get this whole thing going again in the trials where the district attorneys will be going for the death penalty, saying this person will be out
30 seconds
in the future and will kill again if you don't give them the death penalty. So we have this quandary we're facing. And I just want to bring this up because I don't think we've really focused on this in past shows where we've talked about the death penalty. The guys who have life without parole have a different kind of death penalty, really. That's basically a death penalty by time served in prison. And we need to start looking at this, not only Texas, but the other 30 states in the nation that have the death penalty. Now, of course, as we talked about before, about 20 of the 31 states that have the death penalty really no longer carry out executions. That's another good trend that we have in our country. So I hope that we can give more attention to life without parole. But the answer ultimately is to do away with the death penalty and focus on the criminal justice system and other options for keeping our society safe and yet allowing people to have some hope that they can get out and reunite with their families and make contributions to our society.
Excellent. Good stuff, David. We thank you so much. This is a college level course, a graduate level course for me every time you're on the show. So we thank you for the attention that you bring. And
thank you.
Bye.
Look forward to having you again.
Okay. Well, best wishes to everybody on the show and everybody on death row.
Thanks so much.
Bye, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care, Daniel.
Yes. Thank you. Hope to see you soon.
All righty.
Bye.
Take care. Yeah, bye-bye.
All right, that's Daniel, not so anxiously waiting in the wings. He's got a lot of summary.
A ver, les voy a decir algo. Escucha, tío, escucha, cabrón. Escucharme. Tú no eres ese cabronazo que te han hecho creer tu padrastro, por ejemplo. Tu padrastro a lo mejor te ha hecho creer que eres un cabronazo. No. Y además te han hecho creer que eres un esclavo. Por ejemplo, la guardia que tienes ahí al lado. Se cree que eres un esclavo. Tú eres un ser humano con la potencialidad de hacer buenas cosas, para ti y para los demás. Así que levantad la cabeza y encontrar una solución para salir de esta trampa en la que os habéis metido o en la que os han metido. Y ser alguien. ¿De acuerdo? Si lo he hecho yo, tú también puedes. Esto es lo que os dice nuestro queridísimo amigo Ray Hill, que lo tengo escrito aquí en un papel que está dando las vueltas por esta mesa semicircular en la que estamos reunidos aquí 3 o 4 personas. Dejadme que lo voy a leer también tal como lo dijo nuestro amigo Ray Hill. Listen, sucker, you're not the slime your stepfather told you. You were, or the slave the warden is trying to make you. You are a real human being with the potential of doing good things for yourself and others. Get your heart right and work your way out of the trap you are in. And become somebody. Be somebody. Like that graffiti that is written in one of the bridges on the highways. And I don't know why somebody tried to delete it. Well, Ray Hill says, if I can do that, you can too. So that was my short message for today. I think that this is enough for you to think about it. Creo que con esto tenéis bastante para esta noche. Ha habido muchísimas noticias aquí, pero el tiempo es poco. Esto es lo que necesitáis hoy. Levantar la cabeza, coraje y hacer algo. Activaros. Vuestras familias que se activen. Los que quieren protestar y no hacen nada más que quejarse, que se activen. Adelante. Así que, with that is all, Captain, we are ready to go to the next piece.
That's it. Thanks so much, Daniel. Alrighty. Break songs.
Aquí estamos todavía. Capitán Tom nos va a poner ahora una canción. Es la canción que nos va a llevar a la segunda parte del programa.
I use QuickBooks Self-Employed to maximize my tax deductions. It's as simple as tapping on
You wired me awake and hit me with a hand of broken nails. You tied my lead and pulled my chain to watch my blood begin to boil. But I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. Too cold to start a fire, I'm burning diesel, burning dinosaur bones. I'll take the river down the still water and ride a pack of dogs. I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. When the forest burned along the road, like God's eyes in my headlights, when the dogs are looking for their bones, and it's raining ice picks on your steel shore, I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. I'm gonna break.
Get even more from your KPFT listening experience by checking out our HD2 stream. new and improved. Get acquainted with our revamped weekly schedule now at kpft.org. Fear not, nationally syndicated favorites like Democracy Now!, Ralph Nader Radio Hour, Letters and Politics, and Economic Update remain. And good news, our evening schedule now features
Forget to say KPFT Houston.
A stellar mix of public affairs, music, comedy, and Spanish language programming created and produced right here at KPFT. Don't miss a second on HD2. Mouse on over to kpft.org or on TuneIn Radio today. KPFT Houston. Don't miss the pinnacle of the 31st Annual Houston Art Car Parade weekend, the Houston Art Car Parade. 250-plus jaw-dropping mobile masterpieces take to the streets Saturday, April 14th at 2 p.m. in an inimitable display of razzle-dazzle. And be sure to check out KPFT's very own 1977 C10 Sidestep Street Rod, slated at number 197 in the lineup. This year's parade moves back to Allen Parkway. Beverage booths, food trucks, and more. And as always, the parade is free and family-friendly. For more information and grandstand seating, visit thehoustonartcarparade.com. Sponsored in part by KPFT Houston.
All right, in case you didn't know, you're listening to KPFT Houston. Now it's time for that segment of the show that we're all anxiously awaiting throughout the week. And we're going to start with our callers now. We've got Catherine calling in from the UK.
Hello.
Hi, Catherine. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm awesome. Go ahead with your shout-out.
Good to know. Well, I'd like to shout out tonight to Randy Halpern on Polonsky Unit. Hi, Randy. I hope you're well. I'm doing fine here, and everyone's well and okay. I had a really good day today, and everything went well. My work went perfectly, and it was all spot on. So I'm feeling quite pleased with myself. And, of course, I'm all ready for tomorrow now. I've told you all about it in my letter anyway. The rest of the weekend, I'm going to just chill out and watch some movies because I think I've earned the rest. Anyway, I hope you're doing really well and keeping busy with things, and everyone sends their love to you, and we're all thinking of you as always, and sending lots and lots of love and hugs to you. I hope you have a really good and peaceful weekend. So sweet dreams and night-night, Randy, and good night to you all in the studio.
Oh, good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Let's hear from who's been on the longest. Shirley out of Longview, how are you?
Just fine. How about y'all?
Awesome, awesome. Go ahead with your shout-out.
All righty. I was just calling to do a shout-out to Blaine. Hi, Blaine. Love and miss you. And I'm supposed to be there tomorrow to see you, okay? And Tara wanted me to tell you she's trying to get in, so she wanted me to let you know. And I just wanted to call and tell you how much I love you and I miss you. And I will see you tomorrow, okay? Love you. Good night.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Julie from Florida, go ahead. Julie, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Hello. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't hear you for a second.
No
Anyway,
worries.
Hey there. All right. Hey, Rodney, it's so good to shout out to you finally. It's been kind of crazy here. I hope you got my J-Pay this week. Things have been going good. Been working a lot. Trying to help Diane get out of a nursing home. You know, she's ready for that. See, I've just started reading my reading for our trip, The Tunnels of Cu-Chi, so that will be fascinating. Maybe I'll get that for you since your dad was in Vietnam, and I like to read that. How's the book that I sent you? Are you enjoying it? Was it everything you thought it would be? What what else do I know? Well, crazy weather here on Sunday, like tornadoes even. So probably be a slow day at work. Still loving my job. Everything's going good there, and we love you like crazy. Hoping some new information comes out of this recent find. That would be fantastic. And I know that I'm probably up with my 2 minutes. So I love you. I hope you're doing well. Look forward to hearing from you soon. I will send you a Che first part of the week, but we'll be out next weekend for the big wedding, so that will be fun. Anyways, I love you. Sweet dreams. Take care. Thanks a lot, everybody. Good night.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. Good night.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Judy, go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi, that was... hi, I'm calling to shout out for Rodney Reed. Hey, R, it's me. Hope all is well and that you're having a good night. All is good here. I don't know if you know, but Q tried to come and see you today, and I guess things got a little crazy. There was a lot of people and whatnot there, so he wasn't able to see you, which was a bummer. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to locate my notes. But anyways, all is good here. Trying to stay out of trouble, which, you know, sometimes is harder than others. This past Thursday in the Statesman, Chuck Lindell had an article on there about Michael Morton joining the Rodney Reed bid for DNA tests. So I'm going to send you the article on Monday. I know you get the Statesman, but it sometimes takes a couple weeks to get there. And I think that you would definitely like to see it. It was a great article and very positive. The recent episodes in your case is definitely helping you gain lots of new supporters. We've been busy responding to lots of comments and questions. Other than that, all is good here. Mom leaves in a couple of weeks. I know she's looking forward to seeing everyone, and it'll be a nice break for us both. Stay strong, keep the faith, continue to hope and dream. Our dreams are alive and well. Thinking of you and praying for you. 560-626. Sending you lots of hugs and kisses. I love you, Rodney, and miss you like crazy. Good night and sweet, sweet dreams. Talk to you soon, and stay sweet. Love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thanks, guys.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. Have a good night now.
Good night.
We're going to take a couple more calls before we break for our in-station shout-outs. Let's see, Beretta out of Phoenix. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is for Eric in a cell unit. Babe, I just wanted to tell you I love you and miss you. Sorry I missed your call. I hope you get to feeling better. God bless you and everyone. I have to work on a Sunday, half a day, so I won't get off until about 1 p.m. my time, so about 3 your time. Take care, baby. God bless you. I'm reading Luke in the Bible now. One more thing, babe. I need all the prayers right now, and pray, for us, and don't keep us in your prayers, babe. I love you, baby. God bless you, and God bless each of y'all. Thank y'all.
Oh, thank you.
Bye.
All right, God bless you too. Thank you. Oh, let's see. We've got Lupe from Mexico. Go ahead.
Sí, gracias. Hola, buenas noches. Estos saludos especiales para mi hijo, Jan Ramírez. Hola, mi amor. Te mando muchos saludos y abrazos, hijo. Esperando que te encuentres bien, mi niño. Y que hayas tenido una buena semana y que estés tranquilamente, hijo. Esperando, eso es lo que me quisiera, que estés tranquilo, mi amor, que no te desesperes. O sea, que sigas en el camino, que sigas alabando al Señor. Yo sé que hay momentos duros, hijo, pero usted tiene que seguir alabando al Señor y no desmaye, mi niño. Usted tiene que seguir adelante. Eso es lo que yo más deseo.
Just letting you know I've got it loaded for Drug Tooth Network.
Aquello puesto, ya está listo. Ya sabes cuánto. También quiero que le eches muchas ganas, mi niño. Recibí tu email que me mandó la señora Linda. no te preocupes, mi niño, porque si tú estás triste, yo me pongo triste. A mí me preocupa tu situación, mi niño. Así que quiero que le eche muchas ganas, mi hijo, y que siga adelante, mi niño. Ya sabe que yo lo quiero mucho y siempre estoy al tanto de usted y siempre lo llevo en mi corazón y mis oraciones son para ti, mi niño. También quiero mandar un saludo para Félix Rocha y decirle que ya hay un dinero depositado para él también allí. Para él son $30, Félix, para ti. Que Dios te bendiga y te cuide siempre. También deseo lo mejor para ti, ¿verdad? Que sigas adelante, amigo, y mándame pronto tu información para ver si puedo hacerte unos charlas con tu familia. Gracias por todo y que Dios me los bendiga a los dos y a todas las personas que están allí también, sus compañeros. Gracias.
Oh, thank you. Okay, good night now, Lupe.
Buenas noches.
All right, good night. Bye-bye. All right, so we've got just a couple of in-station shouts out, but let me start. I'll take this executive privilege and wish a good evening to my friend Charles Epley, who is now safe in France. He is a free man now. We know him here in the U.S. as Charles Epley, but his name is Pierrick Castellazzi. And after a long, long time doing hard time here in the Texas prisons, he's finally home. So for you guys in Ramsey, just know your Frenchman has finally gone home. Michael Wade, Darren Don White, and Kevin Lee, all good friends of mine, finally gone home. We've got Captain Tom. Go ahead with your shouts out.
All right. We got a shout out to our veterans who are incarcerated and our homeless vets. It's much needed to give these veterans support by sending letters, veterans of the families who have veterans incarcerated. Keep in touch with those who have served. Let them know you care. Thank them for their service. Some veterans who suffer in wartime with PTSD, so they have done wrong in their life. And due to this hardship, ignoring this problem only makes life worse. So on these veterans who suffer, we need your support. Also at KPFT, donations are always accepted at kpft.org, and push the little red button. If you would like to write to Captain Tom, it's 419 Lubbock Boulevard, Houston, Texas 77006. And now back to the prison show and Mysterious Mike for his shout-outs.
All righty.
Hello, everybody. This is Mysterious Mike on the Historic Prison Show. I'd like to do some shout-outs real quick. Trying to get organized here. Okay, and to the guys of Texas, Guy Alexander, Jamie Cuppett, Dennis Hope, Stephen Russell, Philip in Dallas, K Money in Las Vegas, Philip Perez here in Houston. Carla Riviera wants me to do a shout-out to Alex Molina at the Telford unit, Bonton Mickey, Taylor, Leslie. Shout-out to Ty Burns. Tasha wants me to do a shout-out to Rito Estrada and Payday. Shout-out to Michael Marino, Manuel Monrino at the Eastham and Estelle unit. Shout-out to Michelle Bateman in Houston. DJ Doc, DJ Matt, DJ Oz, DJ Thomas. Special shout-out to Frank Klepper at the Gorey unit. Hoss, Danger, Lucky, Jive and Jimmy. Okay, I'd like to do some more shout-outs here to Edward Rees at the Carol Vance unit, Barry Barrett at the Gorey unit, Adam Wilkerson at the Luther unit, Michael S. Garcia at the Ferguson unit, F. Bernard at the Darrington unit, Howard S. Pruitt Sr. at the Polunsky unit, Jose Herrera, shout-out, and here's some more shout-outs that I've got here. Clarence Lee Bowman at the Polunsky unit, Christopher Dye at the Darrington unit. A special shout-out to Bill R. Sims, Guy Alexander at the Wynn unit. Go through some more letters here. And Abel D. Ocheo at the Polunsky unit, Edward Darrell Harmon at the Polunsky unit, Roland G. Lopez at the Darrington unit, Errol Dale Harmon at the Polunsky unit, Ernest Matthews at the Hightower unit, Wayman Spriggs at the Polunsky unit, K.D. Keble at the Polunsky unit, Robert L. Allen at the Darrington unit, Robert Sotillo at the Wynn unit, John R. Green at the Terrell unit, Thomas Ramirez at the Polunsky unit, and Mark Holloway at the Luther unit. You can continue to write me at 419 Lovett Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77006 to the Historic Prison Show, the Mighty 90 KPFT, and of course to Mysterious Mike Lewis. And now back to everybody on the Prison Show.
All right, thank you. All right, Linda from Minnesota, you've been holding for a mighty long time. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. How are you?
I'm awesome.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. I want to say hello to my friends down there, to Papa Rodriguez, Bullet, Rooster, Miller, Ellen, Madden, and Bruce. I hope you're all doing well and that you had a good week. I just want you to know I'm glad I still have the friends down there, even though I lost someone that I had for so many, many years down there. It was probably worked out well because I do believe that God has a plan for all of us, and He always makes things work out the way they're supposed to. I am a firm believer in that. So you guys are my friends, and even though I've never met any of you, you're still my friends, and I think about you and I pray for you, and I always hope that you're all doing well. So you just hang in there, and God bless you all, and just keep your faith, and that's the most important thing. So I hope you're doing well. Bruce, I hope you have a good weekend, and keep those cards and letters coming, and I love the pictures that you send. So you just do well, and I'll hear from you soon again, I hope. So you guys hang in there, and I'll certainly be praying for you. And you guys in the studio, I pray for you every night as well.
Oh, thank you.
For all that you do. So,
thanks so much for that, Miss Linda. We all certainly appreciate and need those prayers.
Yes, I know. Don't we all?
All right.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Be blessed. All right, Bella, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, ma'am, and you?
Great.
Good.
Go ahead with your shout-out.
Okay. Hey, Jedediah. Hey, baby, I love you and miss you, and I pray you've had a good week. Things have been really busy around here, but our little one had 3 soccer games this week, and they won the first 2, but they lost the season, so she was sort of bummed out, but I told her that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and she should be thankful that we have finally had some pretty weather, so she was able to play a few games this week, and it was actually beautiful today, and it's supposed to be really nice all weekend, so we can't complain about the weather anymore. And I gave her the necklace you had sent for her, and she absolutely loves it. She told me to tell you thank you, and she's going to write to you about it, and it really, really is pretty, Jedediah. I'll be sure and send you a picture of it, and that's about it. Let's see. Oh, I almost forgot. I seen Bart and Arnie earlier this evening, and they're both doing great. It was so good to see them, and they said to send their regards, and I told them you would be thrilled to know I ran into them. So that's about it for around here, baby. You take care and stay safe for me, and I'll see you really soon. I love you, Jedediah. Night, night, and sweet dreams. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Good night now.
Good night.
Kathy from Fort Worth.
Yeah, this is Kathy from Fort Worth, and my shout-out is for Randy Strickland on the Polunsky unit. Hi, babe. I love you so much. You know, I'm so happy I listened to the whole prison show tonight. There's so many relevant issues.
Awesome.
And what they brought up about, you know, cases that are, you know, if you're innocent, you're innocent. If you're guilty, you're guilty. When I was there, I was guilty. And, you know, I believe in you, babe, or I wouldn't be even standing by all this whole situation. But every single email I get from the Fifth Circuit, which is about 3 times a day, I hold my breath to see if it's got the opinion or rendered decision, whatever they call them, that says Randy Strickland versus Lori Davis. And my heart beats every time I go to click on those emails now. You know, I watch them every day, and I love you so much. I had so many ups and downs and aggravations with the prison this week. I'm sorry. I didn't know that a duty warden doesn't have to be a warden. I mean, when I was there, when they said duty warden or you called for rank or whatever, the title meant that that person was that person. And, you know, it just amazes me now how things are done. You know, my last visit was such a fiasco when they counted my quarters, and I finally called and I got a warden to call me back about that whole situation. And, you know, of course they upheld whatever happened. And I told him, I said, watch the tapes this weekend. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, throw, you know, not trying to throw anybody's party out the window, but watch the tapes and see how many people's quarters get counted. And, you know, why was I singled out? And I don't understand why the policy is that it's that many quarters for 2 hours and the same amount of quarters for 4 hours. And every other unit I've been on, your picture money is separate, but not Polanski, you know. Your picture money, it's just crazy there, babe. And it just, I'm so frustrated, but I feel for you on the inside, everybody on the inside, because you have so many, there's so many things that you can't even address because they get swept up under the rug. The people from, not the Innocence Project, but the Earl, I don't know, I never heard of that place before, but I know your case is a ballistics. If we had a ballistics deal like DNA, I don't even believe you would be there. But they had so many good points, and I hope to get in contact with them, and maybe there's some people that care as much as they do in the area that your case came from. I just want you to know that I think of you night and day, and I believe in you, and I'm going to keep fighting for you no matter what the outcome is. I'm not going to leave your side. It is what it is.
We need to keep the calls at 2 minutes.
I'm going to let somebody else and save all my other topics for next week.
Awesome.
Thank you to the Prison Show. Y'all are such a blessing.
You're certainly welcome. Thank you, Kathy. All right, and glad
Bye-bye.
you got so much from the show tonight.
Oh, I did.
Oh, good. All righty, good night now. Mary from Houston, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to give a shout-out to Ricky Justice at the Polanski unit.
Go ahead.
And I'm looking forward to, and I'm still out here fighting concerning the hardship issue. And they're putting up a fight, but I hope to see you, get you close and see you soon.
Okay. Is that it, Mary?
And I want to tell him that I love him and I miss him. I really miss him.
All right. Well, I hope he's listening. All right. Good night now. Thank you so much for calling in.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. Lydia from McAllen.
Yes. Hello, Papacito. Just calling to let you know, Papi, that I sent you some pictures on Tuesday, and I sent you copies that you wanted yesterday. And I spoke with Hillary on Tuesday, and she will be going by this coming week. She'll be going by to see you this coming week. She didn't tell me what day, but she'll be coming by this week, okay? And I'll get with her because I just spoke with Amanda, and Amanda said that to let her know what day Hillary's going so that she can go on Tuesday, okay? I hope you're feeling better, mijo, and I did talk to Miss Pugh also, and she was going to write you a JPay, and so was Hillary. And Jennifer was going to take those medical records to a friend of hers that's a PA to go over all the stuff that I got. I got the EKG and everything. Okay, so I pray you're doing better, Papacito. I love you and I miss you, mijo. And please take care and stay calm. Okay? And I know, and the guys that are there, I know they're keeping an eye out for you, and I love you, mijo. You get better, okay? I love you. Good night. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're so welcome. Good night now.
Good night.
Jessica from San Diego. Who are you shouting
how
out
are
to?
you guys doing?
Oh, we're great. We're great.
Good.
Go ahead.
I'm doing my shout out for my dude out there at Polanski tonight. I was going to give you a hard time about the mail situation, but I changed my mind because it's obviously just so far behind. that I'm writing you letters back that you wrote me from the 2nd, so it's kind of crazy trying to catch up with back and forth, but I'll do my best. I did start you at JPay tonight, and I'm totally giving in. I'm totally giving you 100%. No more 60-40. 60-40 is over. It's done. So you're getting 100%, and I'm not even going to argue with you about it anymore. It's just what you want, you're getting. That's it, period. So you should be happy, and that should make your weekend. And I hope you get the rest of my mail, and you can get caught up with what's going on in our conversation, so we can be on equal time again. And hopefully that will be sooner than later, and won't have to wait all the way until June before everything's caught up. So I'm thinking about you, of course, and I love you, and I'll keep writing, and I'll keep waiting, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Good night now.
Good night. Bye.
It's cool to see some new names on this board as well. Kendra from Missouri, go ahead.
Hi, guys. This is for my husband, Charlie. Hey, baby. He's at Darrington. I have some stuff to tell you. I got mail today, finally. It's everything dated from the 4th to the 9th. It's postmarked the 10th. Yes, they're still messing with our mail. The appeal was denied. Sorry, baby, no good news. I don't have any watch in my hand either, but I love you so much. I'm glad you got your stuff. I'm glad you got to hear my voice finally last week. But yeah, I got a whole stack of mail today, so I'm really happy because I hadn't heard from you in like a week. But I love you so much, baby, and I miss you so much, and I hope that I get some more mail soon. So I will talk to you very soon, okay? Right now I'm writing you a JPay while I listen to this, so I will talk to you soon. I love you, baby. Good night.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
You're welcome. Good night now. Mr. Clarence, I'm going to carve into your 2 minutes just to ask if you're feeling well. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
I would like to holler at Mysterious Mike first.
Go ahead. Chew him out.
Mysterious Mike, I have been at home now for 1 year. I am no longer on Pulaski. All right. I'm on Ray Hill. And all of y'all, I hope all of y'all doing all right. But I'm going to have to go down to federal courthouse and get some 42 U.S. 1983 forms, since I can't get any understanding and reasoning with this office here in San Angelo. And the regional director that's over parole board and stuff, he called me the day before yesterday and told me that they would like to have a conference call with me Monday about me not being able to go to church and not being able to go pick up medication. So hopefully we'll get understanding on that. Hello? I want to say hello to everybody on Pulaski unit that I know. Old Clarence Brown, old Raymond Sprigg, old Wardell King, old Corey, Polo, and the White, all you brothers over there. Hope all y'all doing well. I'm still fighting the battle out here, man, but, I'm taking it one day at a time. And this bone cancer is trying to hold me down, but I'm going to fight it. The Lord don't see me through,
You keep fighting. You keep fighting. Good deal.
Oh, yeah. I had so many of my classmates down out here until it's not funny, Seems like we got a funeral every other week, I just blessed to wake up and see the next morning, I guess. I'm still trying to take it one day at a time. And y'all take care and know that I'm still there for everybody.
All right, and we're praying for you, Mr. Clarence. You take care of yourself now.
I'm going to do the best I can, y'all. Y'all take care of this.
All right, and we've got a smile on Mysterious Mike's face. He heard you loud and clear. Okay, good night.
Mike, I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary on the 6th.
Good. Oh, well, congratulations. All righty, so we're going to catch up with you next week. Hope to hear from you next week, all right?
Okay, y'all take care.
You too. Bye-bye. Miss Nancy, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, and thank you, and I know y'all are too.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and talk to Daniel.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Daniel. This is Mama, and I love you with all my heart. And as always, I'm happy to be getting to say hello tonight. And I'm also happy to have received 2 letters from you this past week. And I've been reading them to your sister, Sherry. And we're so very interested in every single word that you say. And I wrote you a letter. Let's see, I mailed it Thursday, Daniel. And the only news that I have to tell you about is really it's some sad news. I mentioned it in my last letter, but I was in a hurry to get the letter to the mailbox and get it mailed. So anyway, Donnie Paul Gillum, Paul, Uncle Paul, my brother's son, passed away suddenly with a heart attack, which he of course, he didn't even know he had a bad heart, but he lives in Killeen, down the other side of Temple, and so Barbara, his mother, said, please pray for him because they were going to terrify him to Temple to have surgery. Well, I was telling Paul and Laura about this at the time that Troy, which is Barbara's husband, called and told Paul that Donnie did not make it. So, I knew you would want to know that. And anyhow, his funeral will be Sunday at Waxahachie, which is near to Killeen and Fort Hood and the other side of Temple, Texas. But I don't think I'll be going. But anyway, I just wanted you. I'm not going to go. In fact, I am not going. Anyway, I just wanted you to know about that. And Daniel, I love you with all my heart. And I'll say good night from now. And keep me in your prayers. And you are in my prayers. And I will talk to you next time. And keep writing to me now because I love to get your letters. Because I love you so much with all my heart. And good night.
All right.
And thank y'all so much. Thank y'all.
Miss Nancy, you're certainly welcome. We'll listen for you next week, okay?
All right, you'll hear me.
Okay.
I love y'all.
Okay, love you too. Okay, bye-bye. All righty. Hi, who we got? Sapphire in the UK. Go ahead.
Hiya. I'd like to send a big shout out to Royal Dreamer and also Uncle Twin, who's also over there. So a big shout out to the OG. Enough love and respect goes out to both you and Uncle Royal Dreamer. And babes, I hope you're doing okay over there and holding it down. And just let you know we're all over here thinking about you and just stay strong, babes, and we all love and miss you all. And I can't wait to see you and I'll see you soon, babes. So thank you for that, and you've got to do a fantastic show like always.
Oh, great. Thank you so much now. You have a great evening.
And you. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Well, y'all, I've got Miss Danny in the studio next to me. I thought I'd missed her because I was late getting in here, but Miss Danny's got...
I got some shout-outs.
Some shout-outs and
sure
updates.
Do.
Go ahead.
All right, I've got one for the Papa Bear. I like to call him Old Bear, but his lovely wife calls him Papa Bear. She said, "Hey, Papa Bear, hope you are doing okay over there and can still smile a smile from me. Things are not too bad here. I'm feeling not as bad as I was last week, but still not fully recovered. As you know, I've been staying with the family and being well looked after. Not sure when I will make the journey home. Enjoying the time with the kids very much. I will write from here. Okay, love you very much indeed, always." And she gives you a big old kiss. And Juan Castillo, I received your letter. We'll be getting that information to you first thing Monday morning. Eric Williams also received your letter. we'll get that information to you. Loved the cartoons. Miss Linda and I really loved them. Paul DeVoe received your letter also, and that information is coming at you as soon as possible. Miss Linda and I were checking, and there's still no oatmeal. Just wanted to let you know that. And that's all I got. I'm sure I forgot something. I always forget something.
Well, we're here, so you can pop back in.
I may pop back in.
You can pop back in. I'm in the studio alone tonight, so yell if you think of something. Come up with something.
I'll yell, wave,
flag.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
y'all.
Thanks now. All righty. Let's see who's been holding the longest. Looks like Janie from Houston. Janie, go ahead. Thanks for waiting for us.
Oh, hi. This message is going out for Jeremy out of the Estelle unit. I was just checking in with you. I haven't got any mail all week long. The last letter I got was on Monday, which was on the 4th, but hopefully tomorrow. I did talk to the commissary people today, and they told me that your e-com has been reset, and it's been reset for a while now, but for whatever reason it still says it's not eligible, but I keep trying every morning and see. I'll try again on the weekend and see if if it goes through. I did find a car. I wrote you about it, and I was waiting to hear back from you. I actually found 2 different ones, but if I don't hear from you over the weekend, I'm just going to go ahead and get one of them. They're kind of holding on to the car for me for about a week until I hear from you. But other than that, I'm just going to go ahead and pick one, and then send you pictures and all that if I don't hear back from you. But other than that, everything's okay. Like I said, I'll try your e-com again over the weekend, and hopefully you'll write. Hopefully I'll get some letters from you and all. But I'll go ahead and let you go, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Good night
Okay.
now.
Bye.
Miss Linda, what do you have for us?
Oh, I've got some shout-outs. Okay, Grumpy Roads, you're going to get a visit on 420. So I just wanted to let you know that. Daniel Acker, Paul Story, Will Spear, Juan Castillo, Ramiro Gonzalez, Brian Davis, David Wood, Stephen Long, Robert Frada, Jaime Cole, Perry Austin, Billy Wardlow, Eugene Broxton, John Rubio, Danny Bible, Fabian Hernandez, Abel Ochoa, Patrick Murphy, Milton Gobert. Milton, I'm going to be there to see you Monday. Dennis Hope, Stephen Russell, Blaine Milam, Tedrick Batiste, Elijah Jobert, Richard Tabler, Maurice Willis, Derek Gales, Curry Richardson, Jesse Hill, Vincent Baker, Wendy On Sanders, Roland Mays, Casole, Beto Garza, and Armando Lisa. Colton Weir, your wife's going to be there to see you on Sunday morning. Nannon Williams, Doncha Crump, Roy Evans, Antonio De La Paz Jr., Jeff Andrizak, Salvador Urate, James Gallegos, Samuel Solomon, Larry Barker, Guy Alexander, my little brother, hope you're doing okay, Jerry Hunter, Bill Sims, Lorenzo Rodriguez, Adam Wilkerson, Jeffrey Wallace, Jimmy Carrington, William Blaylock, David Cummins, Robert Shepard, Stephen Bachman at the PAC 1 unit. I hope you're doing okay over there. Cheryl put money on your books so you can call. So be sure and call her. Okay, guys, I guess I'll let you go. Franklin Davis, I will see you tomorrow night at 5:30. So good night, guys. Y'all have a great week.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Linda. Let's see here. Vicky out of Rio Grande. Good evening.
Hi, how are you guys this evening?
Awesome, awesome.
Cool. I was calling for my husband, Kevin Connors, at the Estelle unit, and I don't know if he can hear this, but I just wanted to tell you, baby, I love you with all my heart. I have been trying for weeks since you got transferred back there from Beeville to get in for a visit, but it's been difficult with the high security accommodations and whatnot. I've received no mail from you. I don't know if you're receiving my mail. I have a feeling not since you were in Beeville for birthday and Valentine's Day. The two visits that that did get approved. First one got canceled because they transferred you to HG after they approved the visit and didn't take you back to your unit. And this last one for Easter, they called me and said that it had been canceled when I was halfway up there, so I had to come back home. I need you to know that. Warden said if you get the info back in, they will put me back on. We don't have to wait for 6 months, so please, I hope you're doing okay and that everything went well at HG. Please let me hear from you best way you can. And just know sunshine, sunshine, and all of us here miss you. We miss hearing your voice. I'm sorry you're stuck in that box, but with God's help, I'll be up there soon. There's blessings coming from all the info, and just hold tight. I love you, and thank you guys there. And honey, give yourself a big old hug. Sleep with the holy angels, and I wish I could slide right in there with you. Have a good night. And you guys, I'd like to ask a question or kind of put something out there before I go. Yeah, I was just wondering, what happened with Linda Pugh? I never hear her on the show anymore. I know she was a contact for TDCJ and medical. You know, she was a great help for my husband with his cancer issues and any and everything to lots and lots of inmates.
I don't know, Vicki. That's a I'll ask around for you, and maybe we can get word out before next week's show. If you'll check the Facebook page,
Okay.
If there are any updates or contact information, we'll try to post that for you. Okay.
Please. And if there's someone, you know, that I could talk to or whatever, because, you know, those inmates need her. She's done for hundreds, if not thousands. She gets where she gets with TDCJ, and that's the only contact they've approved of over the years. She's the only one that they'll deal with. I mean, she's made her way.
Gotcha.
And please, she's a godsend to many, many people.
Gotcha.
Not just because of my husband.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
Please. So I just need to check the Facebook.
Sure. Give us a couple of days, and if we have anything for you, I'll definitely make sure it's posted on the Facebook page.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. God bless everyone, and another God bless. I love you, and sleep with the holy angels to my husband.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All righty.
Alrighty.
Good night now.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Diana from Houston, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. This is Diana, and I'm calling to send a shout-out to my sons, Johnny at the Polunsky unit and Jesse at Stringfellow. I just wanted to call and tell y'all that I love y'all very much, and y'all, if you can try to call me tomorrow, I am going to go and visit you, Jesse, on Sunday. And JoJo's going to visit Johnny on Sunday. So, Johnny, I'll see you next week, okay? So I just want y'all to know that I love you, and I hope that y'all can hear me. I hope y'all have good reception tonight, and just know I love you. I love you very much, and give me a call tomorrow, both of you, okay? I love you. Good night. God bless you, mijos. Both of y'all. Mijos. Bye. Thank you, everybody. Y'all be safe.
You're welcome. Thanks now. Good night. Bobby from Fort Worth, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say hi to Mitch Bennett at Wayne Scott Trustee Camp. I miss you a lot, and I've still been working 6 or 7 days a week, so it's kind of hard for me to write, but I'll try to write more to you. And just let you know that I love you and I'm thinking of you. So you look at the stars, and I will too. Thank you all.
Okay, good night. You're welcome. Is this Cheyenne? Go ahead.
Hello. Hi, Ramiro. So nothing's really changed lately. I did get the jewelry box, and I absolutely loved it, so thank you for that. I have sent you a couple of letters. I haven't received anything, but I know you said on your last one that y'all were fixing to go into lockdown, so I'm not sure if that could be one of the reasons. So I'm still looking out for those. And then we finally fixed our printer, so I've been able to print off more photos. So I'll be sending a lot more of those as well. But yeah, nothing's really changed. I will talk to you about a couple of things in the next letter that's been going on. But other than that, everything's been good, and I hope everything's been good with you as well. So I will talk to you soon, and I hope you have a good night. Thank you, guys, and y'all have a great night as well.
Okay, thanks so much. Good night now.
Yes, ma'am.
Miriam from McAllen, go ahead with your shout-out.
It's from Corpus Christi. Miriam from Corpus Christi.
Gotcha.
So, is it okay if I sound shofar?
Yes.
Thanks. Just a minute. Thank you for letting us do that.
Oh, you're welcome.
We've heard that they are asking why I haven't been calling. They enjoy hearing your show far. But I wanted to shout out to David, my husband. I love you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for your calling today. And I want to shout out to a few of the guys: Carl Curry, Jimmy Todd, Gregorio, John Ramirez, and all the guys on death row, the Sabbath keepers, TJ, Trotter, and Bullet, and then Rodney Carnes, Joe Gonzalez, and John Teague, and the PAC 1 unit Sabbath keepers there, Jerry Utuarte at the Styles unit. And I wanted to say that I got Ruben Mendez's letter from Polunsky and Pelt from Polunsky, and also Jack Johnson. I got your letters today, so I wanted to let you know that I did get those. And is it okay if I sing the blessing over the men this evening?
Go ahead.
Okay.
You've got about 40 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay. That's from Numbers 6:22 through 27, and it's the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace, his shalom. Yavarechecha Adonai ve'ishmarecha. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'hunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yaseh lecha shalom. Thank you. And David, I love you so very much, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you guys at the station for all that you do, and you allow us to call in like this. It's wonderful.
Oh, great. You're welcome. Have a blessed evening. And that was beautiful. Thank you.
Well, thank you. The guys seem to enjoy it, so I'm glad I'm able to do that.
Good. All righty.
Thank you very much.
Good night now. Rosemary from El Paso, go ahead.
Yes, hello, and hello to everybody at their radio stations. I want to give a big shout out to my Fidencio. If somebody can please relay to him that his mother did call and let him know that I love him. Miss him tremendously. Everything's okay over here at the house. Haven't gotten a letter from him. I sent you a postcard, and I haven't gotten no response yet. But I'll be patient and wait for you, okay, mijo? I love you, and may the angels all camp around everybody there. In the name of Jesus Christ, keep your heads up. I know it's hard, tremendously, very, very, very hard, but be strong in the Lord, okay, guys? And just big blessings, mijo, hug. Sending a spiritual hug to you right now, okay? I love you, and good night, mijo. I love you. Bye.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Early from Mission.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Hey, mijo, this is Tia Early. Just hoping that you're doing well. Sorry to hear that you haven't been doing well as far as Amanda was able to tell us when she visited you last. But we're lifting you up in prayer. We're all in unity and lifting you. Hopefully that you're feeling our prayers. And I know that God is faithful, and he will answer our prayer. I love you, mijo, and miss you. I received your letter. Thank you. I did try calling Dr. Ortiz, and I haven't gotten a hold of him. But Tia Gracie is reviewing the records to give you more information regarding your condition. But don't claim it. It's the enemy that is coming against you, but don't let him. You stand strong in your feet and put on the armor of God. He is with you at all times. And I love you, and many hugs and kisses. Frank is doing well. He's back home. I hope that this procedure they did on him, he seems to be doing a little better, recovering, and just lifting him up also as well. I love you, and good night. Here's your deal, just to give you, say hello.
Yeah, Beto. This is the deal, Reyes. Hope you're doing pretty good. That we get the help that you need to get better. Ahorita we're driving to Austin, and I'm on the wheel, so I want to say hello and think we'll see you como quiera one of these days. But
okay, mijo. Well, then good night. I mean, the angel of God surround you, and keep your head high and give me a good smile. Thank you, guys. Good night.
You're welcome. Good night. Tiara from Orange?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Great. Go
Okay,
ahead.
great. All right. Thank you for taking my call. Hello, Blaine Milam. Hey, big boy. How are you? I was concerned I wouldn't get in. Got a lot of long-winded callers tonight, so I'm glad I made it in. You won the 50s and 60s music game. Yay, you won. So that means you get to pick the next category tomorrow. Yes, I said tomorrow. I plan to join your mom at the 5:30 p.m. visit tomorrow. I hope you got my JPay letter. And I hope you got your econ from Miss Linda, too. I wanted you to get that before y'all go on lockdown. So, Jerry, Mom, and Momo all send their regards and love. You know I love you and miss you very much. They love you and miss you. Me and your family can't wait to be on the prison show next Friday, God willing. We're really looking forward to that, and Jonathan's looking forward to playing some of your songs, and we're looking forward to singing. So, anyway, I'll talk to you later, big boy. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Bye. And thank you, prison show staff. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you next week.
All
Bye-bye.
right, bye. Donna from New Jersey. How are you?
Hey, Karan, it's me. Just wanted to call and say hi to you right quick and to let you know that I talked to Shay earlier, so I'm going to take care of that tomorrow. Your daughter is back. I don't know if you knew that yet, but just so that you know she was back, everything's going well with that. I sent you a JPay yesterday, so you got it. I didn't get any letters from you this week, but yeah, that's fine. So yeah, that's all I have. I'm gonna holler at you right quick, and Shay is. I think you need to write her. I don't know if you have written her lately, but I think she's waiting for you to write her back, and there was some stuff that she wanted to talk to you about, but I told her to kind of like chill out on it, and I'll JPay you about that because it's stuff that you can't really control, so why stress you out about it? But I'll talk to you about it when I see you next month. So, yeah, have a good weekend and take care of yourself, and I love you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Bye, y'all.
Okay, bye-bye. Looks like Tiffany from Austin. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm so happy I made it through. Can you guys hear me okay?
Go, turn up your volume a little bit or speak a little bit louder. Go ahead.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me. I'm calling for Rodney Reed
Yes.
at Pulaski. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear now. Good.
Okay, good. Hey, Rodney, it's Tiffany, and I hope you're doing well. Things in Austin are good. There's been a lot of good coverage of your case this week nationally, so I think Judy has sent you some of that, and I hope you've gotten it or you'll be getting it soon. Things on the campaign trail are good. We had our final forum yesterday. I'm hosting a pet supply drive in the morning to get pet supplies for fostered and rescued cats and dogs, and then I have a campaign event tomorrow. And love you very much. Judy and I are in constant communication. Hope you're doing well. Miss you tons, and I'll send you a JPay with everything that I don't want to take too much time because I waited a long time, and I bet others are still on hold.
No, actually, you're the last woman standing.
Oh, I'm the last? Yay!
Go ahead.
Best for last. Well, Rodney, hope you're doing well, and I miss you tons. Love you. Always have you in my heart. We're diligently working on your case, and some really good positive things are happening. So I hope you are doing well, keeping the faith, and I hope you know how much you are loved and supported and how much we all care about you. And thank you, everybody at KPFT, for letting us call in. I'm so grateful for this opportunity every week. So thank you. And Rodney, good night, and I'll send you a JPay on the weekend. Okay, love you guys, and good night, everyone at the studio.
Okay, thank you, and we love you, Tiffany, for what you're doing too. Okay,
thank you.
You know, we're all blessed, and we benefit from this show, but not just the informational portion of the show, from the callers as well. You know, giving the opportunity to open the lines up for, you know, communication and to uplift people's spirits and to give them, you know, just contact with the outside world. It means a lot to us. For those who have been bitten by the bug, you know, we put our heart and our souls and our dollars into making sure that the lives, the quality of life for inmates is improved. You know, I'm in awe of our death row angels, as I call them. Linda and Danny, they go into the prisons. Linda, Danny, who else am I missing?
David Atwood.
You know, going in and visiting with people and consoling and,
Di
you know,
Conklin does that
Di,
too. Yeah.
yes, Di as well. The letter writing and all of that.
Yeah, that
you know,
just takes so much.
They give so much. So David.
You did a really good job.
Well,
I want
you
to
put
apologize
together an
to everybody
awesome show.
tonight. We've got a couple of lines. If you guys are calling in and they keep ringing, for some reason we can't put them on hold.
Right.
But we stopped taking callers at quarter to the hour. So if it rings and rings and rings, I'm sorry, but we're not going to answer the phone.
That's
So
it.
it's over with. It's
it.
been a really good show. I don't mean to go back to the convict leasing program, but that is a subject that is dear and true to me. I go up to the Joe Bird Cemetery up in Huntsville, and every year I go to do that thing too.
Okay.
And it just really, it means so much to me because, like I said, I've been there and done that, and one of my biggest fears was that I was going to die down there, and nobody was there, you know, so at least now I can be there. The prison show can be there. Miss Linda and her husband David went with me to Joe Bird last year.
Okay.
And I've had a slew of folks go with me down to the old Imperial Farm Cemetery.
When are you planning your next trip?
It's in the springtime every year, so I will let everybody know. We'll
do that.
And we're fixing. I contacted a few musicians, and we're fixing to go to the rehab. Yeah, we're all ex-drug addicts and everything right here. We got to go to rehab every now and then.
When's the date for that?
I haven't got a date yet. That's what we're talking about, Mike. If you let me finish. Mike's in my ear wanting to know what a date is. Right now we're shooting for May the 11th, but I got to talk to Grace. We hadn't got a deal, hadn't got it all worked out yet, but I got a few musicians that are raring to go. So that means I got to put together food and got to get the entertainment and everything together. But it's time. We're actually a little bit late because we usually do it in April, but it's time to go to rehab.
Okay. That sounds like fun.
I wanted to end tonight. We got another minute or two. But, you know, Ray Hill pointed out a really good thing tonight on Facebook, and he was talking with a young lady. There's a gentleman who got in a lot of trouble and ended up getting a life sentence because he threw feces on an officer. And everybody wants to say that it's, you know, that's too much time. And I'm not a judge, so I can't say how much time is too much time. The dude had a 4-year sentence and ends up with a life sentence. And I've seen guys go down with 5s and end up doing all their life in prison. And the problem is a lot of times is they get case after case after case. And if you've already got 2 or 3 strikes, then you get enhanced by the time you go to court. And yeah, I mean, it seems so unfair. So anyway, Ray said that there's a guy that we all know, and he said that the way he got his attention was one night he was on the prison show, and you guys hear how me and Hank and everybody, we've done so well since we've been out. But Ray's words that night was, "Listen, sucker. You're not the slime your stepfather told you were or the slave the warden's trying to make you. You're a real human being with the potential of doing good things for yourself and others. Get your heart right and work your way out of that trap you're in and become somebody. If I can do that, you can do it too." So stay tuned for Dean Becker with Cultural Baggage.
All right, good night.
Mark your calendars. The Great Texas BBQ Festival is set to light up Sam Houston Park April 21st and 22nd. A fun-filled weekend featuring an incredible